Live and learn!
Egging on the tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Talk
Okay,
about
so
low-budget flights, no food or movies, I'm out of here.
The way that was delivered, the way that line was delivered in this movie was so bad.
I thought it was fine.
I watched it with James and Casey, and when he started saying the line, I hung my head down in shame.
I thought it was fine. He delivered it differently because it was different.
No, it wasn't the
scene
delivery.
entirely.
It was the same as like in Spider-Man No Way Home when Willem Dafoe went, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself, and it's just like, okay, yes, I get it. Blatant reference, yay! Everyone clap and cheer. Movie was great though. Movie was great.
It would have been a better line if Sonic went up and said, "That was from Sonic Adventure 2, by the way, the video game." I said that.
We should let our viewers know what we're talking about, though, just in case. Also,
I just realized Carter's covering Shadow's face. I'm gonna move y'all up.
Okay. You sung for this podcast, but you didn't sing for Snake Eater Ransom.
Wow. Okay.
I'm really disappointed.
I cannot believe you. That's just sad. You're banned from this podcast.
It's just I don't think Sonic music gets enough love. I think it's the one part of the franchise that people understate. People don't talk about enough.
I can't tell if you bring a joke.
Yeah,
in, but
no
I
one
still agree
ever talks about Sonic.
No one ever
music.
talks about Sonic music, dog, and it's a crying shame. I feel like people should talk about it more.
Rush 40, just indie artist. I'm sure they'll make it big one day.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to our Sonic Movie 3 podcast, a Sonic cast, if you will, or a Shadow cast if you're based. We all watched the movie recently. It just came out. There will be spoilers, by the way. We'll be talking about the thing.
You know, we asked Casey the other day if he wanted to be here with this, and he said, oh, I'd probably be busy. But we didn't double check that.
I don't think he wanted to join the podcast anyway.
Should I go ahead and start, drawing the pentacle just in case he has time?
Yeah, you should probably do that.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so, right out the gate, first scene is with Shadow, based. And just up front and center, Keanu Reeves as Shadow was so good, I just didn't even think about it. There was not a single time in the movie where I was like, oh, that's Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow. I was just like, hey, look, Shadow the Hedgehog.
He stole that line from me.
I don't know. I thought he did, alright, but I definitely feel like just movie Sonic is a very different character from game Sonic. I felt like movie Shadow was a bit different from game Shadow. I feel like he was missing a little even in Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow has a little bit of this cocky playfulness where he's very willing to bounce off of Sonic's dialogue. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, that just doesn't really happen.
That's how
he's just kind of shutting him down.
Yeah,
I feel like they're in a little bit of a different place than they were in the game, of course. Because Sonic is characterized differently in the movies. He's still a growing boy, whereas Shadow, he's actually pretty similar to the games. Actually.
Well, the changes to Shadow, I kind of just understood them.
Yeah.
Stuff like a lot of his motivation in SA2 is just he's an amnesiac,
Yeah.
He's just misremembering what Maria wanted, and this time he just actually does want revenge, and he has to grow out of that. And I think that makes it a lot simpler and makes Shadow probably a more complex character, or just has a stronger growth in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it is maybe a little fast, but it's a movie, it is what it is. I don't know, I just understood the changes to Shadow, and I didn't mind any of them. He did still have some funny moments, the standout being Revenge Guac.
Revenge Guac.
That was...
Some people found that really funny. I didn't find it funny. I thought it was funny,
but I also found it super out of nowhere. He hadn't cracked a single joke except for maybe saying boo at Knuckles.
Yeah.
But even then, that's still him being
he's allowed to make one
confident
cringy
and cocky,
joke.
Yeah,
he waited until no one was around.
Yeah.
Especially because of you have that scene with Knuckles nearby it that felt much more like a Knuckles line.
Yeah. You're right. It felt... I could 100% see Knuckles saying that.
Honestly, half the characters on the evil side could have said that.
But
If Edna Stone or Gerald or Eggman had said it, I'm like, yeah.
So
That's so yeah, and Eggman thankfully is back.
yes, thankfully.
And apparently they took apparently as a joke they took it literally when what's his name? I'm blanking on his name.
Jim
Edna
Carrey?
Stone.
Huh?
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. When Jim Carrey said,
Jeez.
I'll only like come back if they have a golden script. Apparently they sent him a script where the ink was penned in 24 karat gold.
Is that true?
That is true. That is at least what the Wikipedia says.
That is really funny. But also, this script was pretty good.
It's better than the first two movies.
It is.
Oh, definitely.
Now that I'm a few days separated, I'm pretty confident in saying this is my favorite of the three.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think it's easily the best of the three. Like, it
Yeah.
actually feels very visually inventive. And there's a lot less of the, like, not great parts of the human cast, and...
Yeah. And the
And,
highs
like,
are
hey,
super high here.
They stopped the just overuse of licensed music, which was really bad in those first few movies. In
Yes.
fact, like,
Oh, yeah.
when that movie starts, I love that they, like, start the movie by saying, hey, we know what you want.
Just a quick twang of live and learn. Just a quick one.
You know,
We're
I think
gonna
there's
give you
only...
the quick little hit of live and learn, just so, like, we can confirm that we're not going to mess it up.
Yeah.
And, like, I'll say, just even the little riff at the beginning of Live and Learn sounds really good.
Dude, we'll get there.
Every time.
Because
We'll get-
I could say things about the movie's version of Live and Learn.
Like,
I
have more complicated feelings on when they actually bring out the song itself, but just like the little riff at the very beginning, the way they used it was just
Fucking
super
sick.
good. It gave me chills, and like, I'll be honest, it might have like ruined the rest of the movie a little bit for me.
Yeah, it gave you
raised
too
your
much
expectations
confidence.
in that moment.
It raises the expectations really high.
That's so
yeah,
funny.
it's like, oh, you have a lot to live up to the moment you play that song. Speaking
A lot
of,
to live and learn
I
up
think-
to.
Yep. You were banned from the podcast. No, I think there's only like 2 or 3 licensed songs in the movie, if I remember right. And there's the weird like
knew
Jelly
he'd
Roll
do
song.
that.
No idea why they picked that. There's a weird Jelly Roll song. No clue why they picked that. But also they got One OK Rock. Is it One OK Rock?
Yep.
I think. To put a song in the movie. The song Neon that plays when they jump out of the helicopter.
Yeah.
I know people were expecting City Escape there, even though it wouldn't have made sense in that context.
Isn't,
but like that makes sense. They did the song. They did
didn't One OK
Vandalize for
Rock-
Sonic Frontiers.
Yep.
Yeah, they did something for Sonic Frontiers, and I need to get back on that.
Yeah, you do.
It's a great song.
You do. I need to
Hey,
replay it.
have you finished Sonic Frontiers Ransom?
Yeah,
Yes, he
even
did.
the DLC.
Okay.
You thought you did
Damn,
something there.
you thought you
Well,
had
I-
something.
Oh,
Well, I
man.
guess today was my day to get Yakuza Zeroed.
Yeah.
You sure did. And you haven't played Shadow Generations,
That one's much shorter, by the way.
which
and
is
you can't play it.
much more egregious because oh my god, that game is so good
Very
Yeah,
good
we-
and relevant to this. so.
and relevant.
Really? Like, are there?
Well, no, it's just because it's Shadow.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, they do have the movie
I mean-
DLC, but honestly,
Apparently,
that-
it's bad.
It is.
It's okay.
It is. It's the least replayable stage in the game.
There's just like
And
there's
it costs
literally a
$7
minute.
extra.
Yeah, there's literally a minute of extra cutscene in the level
Inside the
and you can't
level,
skip
and
it.
you can't skip it. Yeah,
Yeah, every time.
and it's
They don't even
it's
pause the
hella
timer.
annoying. No, they don't even pause the timer. So you get to the end, you're like, wow, that was a 4 or 5 minute stage. Well, how beefy? And you're
Also,
it's like,
Keanu.
no, it wasn't.
Also, Keanu's voice in that level was just
Oh, he phoned it in.
yeah, like
Which made
when
me
I
really
was
worried for the movie.
because
I
yeah,
was
but no,
so
he-
worried for the movie, but
Kills it
luckily,
in the movie, but
no, he
in the
tried
level-
very hard.
Yep.
That scene where he's thinking about Maria and Gerald is egging him on, and he's powering up the I forget what they call the Eclipse cannon.
Eclipse cannon.
And he just starts screaming, and he does like a real good scream. I was just like, "Fuck, dude, let's go, Keanu! He did it. He's going hard."
Like I said, or like Ransom said, but I also said is that I really feel like he just was Shadow in this movie.
Yep.
Carter's kind of an exception, I think, because I think most people really liked his voice in the film. He kind of killed it. Also, this is coming out after Sonic Shadow Generations, where I feel like Kirk Thornton also elevated his Shadow voice by a lot. Like prior to that game and prior to this movie, I used to only think of Shadow's previous voice actor, like from Shadow the Hedgehog, as the voice of Shadow. But like now, I'm like, okay, no, these guys finally have solidified the role. Like other people could do him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it's just I do like a little bit of like hamming it up, a little bit of like the playfulness, and like I do get that like they were kind of doubling down more on, I guess, the angsty side and the because like there isn't much time in the movie.
Yeah. And this is, first time Shadow, like Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow. So he's
They
like
want to show the
for the most
edge.
part. Yeah, he's gotta be edgy.
It's fucking cool. He was cool the entire time. He never did anything that wasn't cool.
Rides
John
a
Wick
motorcycle.
the Hedgehog. They killed that girl like the people killed the dog.
Yeah.
Also,
Maria is a little golden retriever.
Is it just me, or is that scene in the Eclipse canon where he's spinning around? Is that kind of a callback to like the first movie where Sonic is like running around a bunch and then like
there's a lot of callbacks
causes
to the first movie.
A power outage?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Callbacks in general. There were so many goddamn references in this fucking movie, dude.
Oh yeah, not even just to like Sonic Adventure 2 in the games, but like having
all over the place.
I didn't rewatch Sonic 1, but I watched like a reaction video that basically just had most of Sonic 1 in it, to be honest, to refresh myself. And there's a lot that like it's just like they don't ignore Sonic 1 and 2 for this film outside of like one instance. Like they very much like keep the continuity and reference past events in order to tie and contrast Sonic to Shadow. Not just like, of course they give the example of Sonic living with Tom and his wife and having the happy life, and then Shadow's loss of having that same kind of feeling. Stuff like that. I'm gonna bring this up while I have a chance, but in an early scene they go to Sonic's old cave and he finds stuff like his old nunchucks and his beanbag chair. And no, at the end of Sonic 1, like Tom and Maddie found that cave and brought that stuff to the house. So like that stuff shouldn't be in the cave, and he shouldn't have been surprised to find the cave.
Wow, 0 out of 10.
Yeah, actual plot hole. For real. Don't watch this movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't worry. When they introduce Silver for Sonic 5, it'll all turn out that it was multiple timelines, and this was the timeline where they didn't bring it back.
That's wonderful. We could talk about this movie in any order, any aspect. Like, there's so much I want to talk about.
So,
like, I guess we could.
Shadow gets the gun.
He does get a gun. It's a laser gun, but it's also
Only
just a pistol.
There are no regular guns in this movie.
No.
I noticed pretty quickly. Heck, even the game is like has guns and missiles and stuff, but this movie, not really.
Yeah, it's
They use a real gun in Sonic 1.
Well, it's really interesting because it's like, I don't know. I guess the MPAA just has like different standards because like, don't they show like the Maria thing again in like? I saw a snippet. Like, don't they show the Maria thing again in Shadow Generations? And like that didn't like, didn't push it. That didn't bump the rating up.
There's slightly more ambiguity like in the actual death scene, I think, in Generations. So it's like it's possible that just rating standards have changed over time. But also, I have a hypothesis that they sort of loosen Gunn's connection to the U.S. in this movie. Because in 2 and 1, it was just I think it was the U.S. I think it was like a U.S. thing, but like in the movie, like their headquarters is in London, and like there's no U.S. like affiliation with them, and they've all got laser blasters and stuff. Yeah, they've all laser blasters and stuff. I think it's supposed to be some ambiguous, military unit. That way, there's no like, oh, look what the U.S. doing war crimes and killing a little girl and getting away with it,
I mean, you're not,
And the
you're not
one
gonna
guy-
get the U.S. You're not gonna get the military funding and like gear for your movie if you're too critical. But then again, like
Yeah.
they already aren't. So
Yeah.
like
Also-
they're using laser guns anyways.
Yeah, and also the one U.S. guy who is confirmed to be in the movie, Oliver Garden, I mean Commander Walters, is shown specifically to be like, no, don't blast the little girl. I'm here
Yeah.
to help, and then fails.
By the
Which,
way-
like,
go ahead.
It's a weird change given like how that character is in the games.
Oh yeah, well I think he's explicitly not that character. He's
I was
just
about to say,
inspired
like, I
by
could
him.
see him be a stand-in, but I don't think he's ever supposed to actually
Yeah.
be. What's his name? Abraham Tower.
Abraham Tower.
Yeah, 'cause
Also,
that
he
man
may
put
or,
a gun to Shadow's head in the
He
previous
did.
game.
He did.
also he may or may not be dead in this movie. Question mark.
I think he's dead. I think he's dead.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Here's my thing. Kristen Whitaker, is that her name?
I
The
don't
Jessica
know.
Jones actress,
Yeah.
the lady who everyone thought was going to secretly be Rouge or something. That goes up, checks, doesn't find the thing, and I guess checks to see if he's dead. So we presume he's dead, but then later he shows up and she's surprised, but like, if she was sure he was dead, like she should have been way more confused by that. But no, she
I
just
think the
gave this guy the
implication is
card.
like she didn't really stick around at the scene. Like she was, already
She was
trying to
such a-
track people down.
Yeah, she was in such a rush in her head, like trying to get the evil aliens, and then, those disgusting blue and red and yellow creatures, as Shadow might put it.
So-
And then after she gave the card back, she was just removed from the movie.
You're a colorful bunch.
You're
I
a
just
colorful
fucked up that
bunch.
R. You're a colorful
I will like to
bunch.
say this movie does continue a weird like trope with Sonic that I've been noticing a lot with the past few like games and even movies is that it's like it always starts with like a picnic or a birthday party and then suddenly something like comes out of a portal, be it like the new antagonist or Gun needing their help. It's like
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah.
it's a little odd.
I don't think the first two did start with that, but they
Well,
do start with like
But,
very simple
like Frontiers
establishing
and
shots.
Generations start with that.
I see what you mean. It's a good establishing thing. Like if you've never met the characters, here they are. You can see their relation to each other and what they're like very quickly. Like it removed Tom and Maddie and Co from their home. Here we are, just a group of characters in a random place. Here's how they act with each other. That's all you need to know at the beginning of the movie. That way, if Grandma is watching this movie, they can loosely follow what's going on.
You must
But I
now
don't know
take
the
your
details.
grandmother to watch Sonic 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Another thing is, I noticed they they definitely avoided like referencing the fact that Tom is a cop in this movie. I wonder how intentional that was. Like they show like the police office one time in a scene. That's it.
So,
Yeah,
in a
They
trailer,
could.
we
uh-huh.
saw Tom in a gun uniform, which we now know was some espionage stuff.
Yeah.
But I for real thought they were gonna have Tom be a member of Gun. And
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You know what my genuine thought was?
Mm.
Oh, they fixed Tom. They found a way to make him matter in a way
I
that
think
makes
Tom matters.
sense. No, I
think he
I don't
matters in
even
a way that makes
dislike
sense.
Tom, but the idea of him becoming like putting him in an actual established thing like that just made me like, oh my god, he feels so much more useful now as a character.
making him feel like he's actually part of like the world.
Yeah.
Instead of
He's
just
just
the parent character.
I
Yeah.
would say he's just Chris Sonic X, except he's an adult like father figure rather than
A
someone
little
that Sonic
brother,
has to
yeah.
coddle. Yeah, he's
But,
he's
you
helping
know,
Sonic
Chris-
rather than the other way around.
But Chris has like the grandfather who's a scientist though, which I feel like
Yeah.
that kind of the
Oh, so what? Was Chris supposed to be Maria?
No,
no.
that's a whole other tangent. I can explain that.
You know,
to
we
later.
don't have to
Uh,
talk about Sonic X today.
We can because
yeah,
the
we
movie
can.
has references to Sonic X
God
and
damn
definitely
it.
took inspiration from it. I specifically like in the I'm not jumping ahead. It's just an example. In the end sequence, they actually show the people looking up, and you can see their disguise of the Eclipse cannon about the fire, which did not happen in the games. You saw them looking up, but not really what they were looking at. In Sonic X, you actually see the ground view of like everyone getting out of their cars in the city. Like, what the heck is that? It's like the thing from the sky is falling down, about to kill everyone. And it's like I'm glad they incorporated that shot because you kind of have to have that.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to call that a direct Sonic X
No, there's a lot of little details that I think were inspired by Sonic
Yeah,
X.
just,
That weren't
just slight
specifically
inspiration or had the same idea, you know.
Yeah. It's also possible it was just parallel thinking. Who knows?
Also, you know, speaking of the Eclipse canon, the pissing on the moon shot in the trailer and stuff really had me thinking like that was gonna be a mid-movie event. No, it's an ending joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really got caught off guard by
as,
that.
It's really funny as an ending joke because, like, the implications of having part of the moon blasted off are kind of, like, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's literally just a, like, slapstick gag.
It's just at this, and it looks like it's just gonna be a Ruby, like, aesthetic choice to, like, differentiate Sonic's world from now on, you know, in the movies. Like, look up, oh, look at the moon, that's how you know you're in Sonic's world.
So can we talk about just like how good that first like showdown between Sonic and Shadow is?
Like Team Sonic versus Shadow, you mean? Or
well, the first fight with Shadow in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Like
good.
on the highway and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even just to start with, Shadow's OP in this movie because he can just Chaos Snap, or I guess Chaos Control. It's Chaos Snap, but, like, rapidly. Like, Ro does not need an Emerald, he's just zip-zooping.
He Akira slided up a building.
Which is incredible. Casey,
Dude, when they were...
I do wish he was here, because he had, like, some really interesting and funny observations, especially from someone who's more of an outsider to Sonic. He knows what it is and all that, but like, you know, he just recently watched the first 2 movies to come watch this.
Oh yeah,
and
he enjoyed them more than I thought.
And he had one thing I'm gonna bring up in a second, but first I'll say, he was for real. Like, how is anyone supposed to beat Shadow? Like, Shadow's fucking busted, and we're just like, oh yeah, he was crazy.
Another reference, when Shadow first breaks out, like, those camera choices are very reminiscent of the Shadow the Hedgehog, like, video game opening.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of shots and stuff definitely lifted from just a lot of imagery from the games and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's also not a coincidence, because Jeff Fowler, the director, was the guy who did the cutscenes for Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh.
The 3D CG, like, opening and stuff, he worked on that.
That's sick. That's awesome.
If you didn't know that. That's also why he was kind of perfect for these movies, because even though studio and he made some weird decisions early on, like, he is familiar with the property and, like, especially No Shadow, at least. So
he knows what these games should. He knows how the camera should move in Sonic.
Yeah, actually, Ben Schwartz, Sonic's voice actor in the movies, made the same point. Just like, you know, getting like the eye lines right and like making these CG characters feel like they're actually in the world.
Yeah,
you know, as beings, like, it's something he's really good at, apparently.
I felt like the fights in this movie were like a lot better coordinated, and like a lot more dynamic. Like, I don't know, it felt like they did better at kind of using the environment, in like interesting and fun ways. Like, I really love that one part in the first fight where he like launches the motorcycle like into the sky and then like jumps back down from it, kicking off of it. Like,
it goes so hard. I wonder where the motorcycle landed.
Probably in Tokyo Bay or something.
It just kept going up.
So what was that observation Casey had?
Real quick, I want to say my own. I feel like they conveyed the idea of him using his chaos power to fuel the motorcycle, and that's why it's going so fast. So there was some just shot in there that made that look convincing. Like, it just...
Oh, yeah.
They didn't say anything out loud. I was just like, oh, so that's what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. I watched it even in the moment I was watching it, I was like, that's some BS, but it's fine.
It is BS, but cool. It's just so smooth and fast that you're just like, yeah, okay, sure.
His energy make the wheel go gooder.
So Casey,
that's how it works.
He watched the second, we were like, how'd you like him? And he was like, first movie was like a 5 out of 10. It had good stuff, but, you know, it was whatever. Movie 2, 8 out of 10, really good. I love Knuckles, a lot funnier, a lot better. Tails seems useless. I don't like Tails. And we were like, oh, come on, Tails is, you know, he's fine. And he's like, well, he gets sidelined because Knuckles is the main thing in 2, and Knuckles is great. Everyone loves Knuckles. And so, watching this movie with James and Casey beside me, the entire time I had the thought in my head, Tails is useless, according to Casey. And then, you have, in the final act of the movie, Sonic is falling towards Earth, hitting terminal velocity, and Tails says, I'm gonna go save Sonic, I'm gonna go down there, and he goes down, and he's gonna go save Sonic, and then he also starts to pass out. So Knuckles has to go and save them both.
Which is so,
it's
like,
all
they
I
could've-
could think in the moment was, oh my god, Casey was right. They're doing Tails so dirty.
Yeah, that was kind of bad. That was kind of bad, but because it's like you could have still made Tails useful in the scene by like having him like, you know, Knuckles is kind of like the grip, and Tails is like spinning his tails to like kind of slow the like descent down.
Yeah, do the heroes formation again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tails.
Which
Tails,
they did do that in the movie.
Actually, I was about to say Tails really helped with the gadgets, but he didn't because their plan ended up being pointless. He helped grab Sonic, I guess, and throw him.
He
through.
stopped Sonic from hitting a wall, and that was it. That was
Even
the
his
most
idea
useful
with the
he was in the
USB.
movie.
Even his advice with the USB was wrong because he was like, "No, you don't have to blow in on it." No, it worked. Okay, it's like Tails help. Oh, I know what he did. He destroyed the crab mech that's immune to water by hitting it with water.
Why are they so mean to Tails? And Knuckles gets so much. Even if everything Knuckles gets, even if not everything Knuckles gets is victories, it's like really good moments. Like him having a standoff with Sonic over the Master Emerald. Like that was a really good moment.
That was a really good.
With like a lot of tension.
I was like, of course, you never see Sonic angry in any continuity because he's usually not allowed to be. I like this growing version of Sonic, but
and then Knuckles decides to be the bigger man. Like they
what a
really
guy.
like him. Which, to be fair, I think this is pretty easily my favorite incarnation of Knuckles. Movie Knuckles. Because I don't want him to be a dumbass like Boom and all that. Like I get that, I'm on that train, but it's also like otherwise Knuckles. He's cool. Like, he is cool, but he's never had, like, the same kind of appeal as Sonic and Shadow, I don't think. Especially after his initial debut.
I'll say, at first he covered it.
No, the first time, no, like...
Here's a very different energy.
No, here, he's definitely his own thing. Mm-hmm. And he's just a lot of fun to watch. And Shadow... Aside from a few small changes, he really is just Shadow, therefore, yeah, I love him. I can't wait for that show to come out. James, you said they did just say they're going to make a Shadow show, right?
I'm pretty sure they did, and even if they didn't, they're going to.
It's, I think Reeves said that he's, like, open to a spinoff.
They've made it pretty clear, like, the Knuckles show is successful, the Sonic movies are successful, they're gonna make another show, Shadow's the obvious choice.
Yeah, and speaking about a Shadow show, Shadow's backstory actually kind of leads into like a possible introduction of Black Doom better than the actual games.
Especially with how fast they skimmed over shit. He's the ultimate life form, excuse me.
Oh, you crashed in from a meteor? I wonder where that came from.
The meteor literally looks like the Black Comet.
Also, again, you said he's the ultimate life form. Why is that? Who's the authority on that?
Well, to be honest, like, as a Sonic no one knew about Sonic yet, and like, if you had something crash into your like lab that could run at like the speed of sound, like generate chaos power, and like fight off like anything, like, come on, he kind of is at that point the ultimate life form.
Yeah,
but that moniker is there for a very specific reason in the games, and here it's just like he's so strong.
I'm sure they'll like they might retroactively get something, who knows? But I'm calling it now. We're gonna get a Shadow show. It's gonna have the Black Arms in it, or at least Black Doom. And I'm very ready for that as the world's biggest.
Is like, okay,
I'm the world's biggest
doing a Shadow show, are we adapting Shadow the Hedgehog?
That's what I'm saying.
So not only are we adapting Shadow the Hedgehog, we are adapting the format of the Shadow the Hedgehog game. We're bringing back Ransom. We're bringing back the Bandersnatch thing from Netflix, where you can make the choices in the middle of the show.
Yeah,
and so we're gonna get to
fucking funny, dog.
I didn't even know that show did that. That's awesome. We need to, and we also need to have real guns and cursing. I was really waiting for Shadow to curse. Eggman did.
God, speaking of Eggman, we should probably talk
Jim
about
Carrey killed it. I think this was my favorite performance from him in the series.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Well, this is basically. I feel like he gets 50% of the screen time.
Yeah, easy.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like another reason of why he came back, besides the 24-karat script, was because they kept giving him lots and lots of screen time.
Well, if I imagine, like, people are like, he didn't die, of course he's gonna live. And it's like, maybe, but, like, I feel like this is his last role. Like, he's been wanting to retire.
Well, I mean, this one is definitely written as if it could be his last one.
Yeah, and
Like,
also it will be
so.
a little hard to walk back that death.
Yes, it will be.
Mm-hmm.
I will say something. Jim Carrey said one reason he likes playing Robotnik so much is because
He gets to be evil.
he gets to play someone smart.
Oh, yeah.
And his career isn't really made up of that. He usually plays idiots. So playing a genius was really refreshing for him. So him also being offered, not only do you get to play Robotnik again, you also get to play Gerald, who gets to, like, near the end of the movie, he just lets the mask off and just says some sinister shit, you know? So him playing, like, even an even more real villain, I can see how that'd be attractive to him as well. Just, you know, something actually new. Because, like, we're, again, just skipping to the end here, but, like, when he tells Ivo his real plan, and he's always just like, I don't want to do it. That's crazy. And he's just like, oh, you were no Maria. And he just says that shit's so cold, you know? And it's like, God damn, that's such a tone switch.
Dude doesn't even have a response to it. He just, like, keeps looking at him as he walks away. It's like, dang.
It's like, what do you say to that?
No, that's crazy. That's like the meanest thing ever.
Well, there's albeit vague since Carter hasn't played it yet, cough cough, but there is some mention in Frontiers of Eggman being jealous of Maria, so it's like, you know, that cut deep.
Dude, you're overhyping. It's a fucking Ansem report. It's not that big a deal, dude.
I know, but I don't want to spoil any of these.
Spoil an Ansem report that doesn't tease future things or anything. Like, dog, James, you're so weird. You're so fucking weird.
I don't know what Carter's gonna care about. If the game had come out and I hadn't played it yet, and you told me about it, I would have been mad. So I'm thinking from my perspective. I'm having this thing called empathy. You're welcome.
You need to empathize with other real people, not the goo monster that you are.
I empathize with Sonic fans who play Sonic games because I like Sonic games.
Yes, Carter, the Sonic fan who hasn't played Frontiers or Shadow Generations.
He played Shadow the Hedgehog.
I'm working on it.
That's what matters. He played Shadow 05. Did you finish Shadow 05, Ransom?
Did you finish Shadow 05, Ransom?
No, I play good Sonic games.
Okay, so
Which
you
is why
wouldn't
I
know
dropped
how much
Sonic.
he cares
You know what?
about.
I'm gonna stop that sentence right there, because I was about to make somebody mad.
No, Ransom. Let's.
No. We're good. We're good. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that one, bro.
We didn't mention it going into this, but yeah, we've all played, or at least seen, or like played most of a lot of the big Sonic games that feature Shadow. And,
we're all
Sonic
like
games.
up to date. We know what's going on.
Well, I don't know about up to date, but
My favorite Sonic game, you'll never guess, it's Shadow Generations.
very good. It's peak.
And then
It
it's
is
probably a
peak.
tie between Sonic Gens and Sonic Frontiers.
Also good taste.
And then probably
Alright.
Sonic Mania.
Oh, I do have to wonder, with three movies in, how do you guys feel about Robotnik's sidekick character?
Agent Stone? Love that.
I love Stone a lot, to the point where I'm like, I kind of wish you would give him more. Because he had a lot in the first movie, and in the second and third, he's really been shafted.
Everyone wants that a lot.
I like that his, I like that Ivo gets a real moment to, like, reconcile with him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's another reason why, like, God, really could just end it here, you know? Let Robotnik end on a positive note. And, maybe Stone built this is a spoiler podcast, you know, it's fine. Maybe
Yeah,
Stone
you can
built
talk
Metal
about it.
Sonic, right? Maybe he did, because
Maybe.
they've said in like interviews or whatever that Stone is actually like almost as smart as Eggman.
Honestly, that sounds like a fake to me. Like, not fake, but it sounds like I don't believe it.
No, I also don't
I could
believe
I
it.
could
Like, I haven't been
believe
shown evidence, but like
I could absolutely believe that after or before Eggman died, he started, learning from his tech and reading his schematics
Right,
and
yeah.
like build it himself. But not that he's already that.
no,
smart.
yeah, I like just give a scene of him, just a small montage of him like really dedicating himself. Make it creepy, make him look isolated and more evil. You know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Alternatively, I like the idea someone presented, which is that like Eggman, either like copied his mind to Data or had an AI that's set to run after he dies. And I was like, oh, that could just be Sage. His system like running and like creates
No, that
or
makes
sets
sense,
Metal
yeah.
Sonic free after the fact. And then there you go.
no, I'll take that. Anyway.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on like the next movie, but I'll save that for the end.
Yeah, here's to Metal Overlord, everybody. Hoping and praying.
Wait, I changed my mind. I think Orbot and Cubot should be the next main antagonists.
Okay, so
I think Chaos.
moving on.
The only fucking
God,
The
please do
only-
Chaos.
the only antagonist that I want aside from Metal Sonic, which we're obviously getting, is Chaos.
Dude, just do a Sonic Adventure movie.
Because
I think-
can you imagine a finale
Okay, well,
of Super
can you
Sonic
guess-
versus
I
Perfect
guess I'll
Chaos?
go ahead
It'd be
and
so
just say it.
cool. Go ahead.
They have said that Sonic 4 is probably going to be a lot different from the previous 3 movies.
That's fair.
And that makes sense given that Sonic 2 obviously had like a story arc that is pretty like defined and set out.
Yeah.
But now it's very obvious, okay, we're doing Sonic CD.
Yeah.
So like that is a lot more room to work with.
Oh, you
They
mean
have
Sonic
a
Adventure
lot.
2 had a defined...
Yeah.
Hmm?
Well,
Y-
you mean Sonic the movie 2, which is based on Sonic 2 and 3, and then Sonic 3 was based on Sonic Adventure 2. I think he was just saying those 2 movies.
Well,
are
yeah, but he said,
defined
like,
up
Sonic 2 and 3 do not have a defined... Like,
Right,
Carter,
they
you
had
were
an
saying Sonic
outline.
Adventure 2 had a more defined script to follow. Sonic CD, you can do whatever you want with it. All you really
Yeah, you
have is
can
the
do whatever you
characters
want with
and
Sonic
maybe
CD.
time travel to play with.
Here's the thing. There's
And
infinite
I know
ways
what's
of
going
that.
to happen with I know what's probably going to happen is we're probably going to have Sonic 4 with Metal Sonic and do we want to just go ahead and say the other character?
Oh, yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, so
Big the
Metal
Cat.
Sonic and Amy. I want Big the Cat so bad.
I
it
do
would
too,
be
but
really-
give him a role similar to what's the other cop's name?
Wade?
Yeah, give him a role similar to what Wade had in Sonic 3.
I did consider what if Wade just somehow became Big the Cat.
You know what?
He
Yeah,
gets zapped
yeah,
by a
just do
robot
that. Just do
beam.
that.
So and
The flames of disaster. Okay,
So-
yeah, we got it in.
Sonic 4 is going. They're obviously going to have like time travel stuff because Sonic CD,
Yeah.
and then at the very end they're going to use that time travel to tease Silver.
Oh, absolutely.
And hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Hey, Ransom, guess what? Sonic 5. It's gonna be Sonic 06.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
let's go, Mephiles.
Sonic 06 isn't
Woo.
the worst one to adapt.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, probably change some stuff, but like, it has much more of a story than even like Generations. You know?
My problem with
I
doing
would like if they used. I would like if for 4 maybe they kind of fuse CD and Adventure a little bit, like. Because
Yeah.
I mean the Chaos stuff that could be used. They obviously still kind of. They've been mentioning Longclaw every single movie. I think
It's
just
still
to make
something.
sure that that's still something in play, that if they
Yeah.
want to use it later. And so it's like,
God.
okay, if we go back to like the Echidna Warriors, like that Chaos would probably be our way to
Please,
kind of resolve
God.
that plot line.
everything is still in place if they could just do Sonic Adventure.
They
I
can
mean, someone
still
else would have to
go
awaken
back
Chaos.
to that world. They can still go back to what is obviously the game Sonic world. You know? But
Oh, yeah.
not the not literal that continuity, but like Green Hill
They can
Zone.
do-
You know? Like
Yeah, they can do a Sonic X Season 3 and just return back to Sonic's world and leave all the humans out of it and it would still make sense. You can just say, all right, our time on Earth is done. Thank you, Tom and Maddie, for being great. And then maybe they can have a scene where they go back to Earth sometimes, but have all the stories take place in the Sonic worlds. Be done with the human world. Don't need it no mo. Blow it up even. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's a treat.
I
Sonic
fucking
Unleashed
hate
reference.
you too.
You could argue that it's weird that they tease out the death of Donut Lord so much and then don't do it, because like when it happens, like I was kind of just like, oh, is this how they are justifying not having to do the human stuff in future movies?
I mean,
Just kill them?
I think Tom and Maddie at least have like a contract where like they have to appear in some amount of these movies.
Okay.
If I had to guess, that's just a guess. Alternatively, I do think they have a place in these stories, at least for now. I know people are like, oh, get the humans out of here, which they've been doing more and more.
I don't mind humans being in Sonic. They've always been there.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. It's just.
But you don't want the Force like.
I don't.
Hanging
Yeah.
out
Right.
with the CG
It's
animal.
like if they're gotta be
Very
there, make it like
derivative.
Godzilla, where give it a make it like Godzilla -1, where it's like these are real characters with like they're here for a
Yeah.
reason.
I do feel like what it's probably going to be is like, okay, the next arc, it's going to be kind of a, oh, he's all grown up and going off to college dynamic. If they end up like going back to like, Sonic and Knuckles' home world.
Yeah, maybe
'Cause, like-
actually fucking please God make him more like Game Sonic at that point, because
He's going.
I'll be like, I love Knuckles changes. I think Shadow's great. Tails isn't any fucking different. Dude, I wish he was more like Game Sonic. Anytime I watch any 3 of these movies, I'm just like, God, I wish he was more like Game Sonic.
I have a perspective on this that I've been wanting to voice, and it's related also to the human characters. But like, it's very clear there's a different direction with this. In the games, Sonic, importantly, he doesn't really have character arcs. I wouldn't say he's a perfect person, but his role in the games is to be a catalyst to change.
Yeah,
Being who he is changes the world and the people around him for the better. In the movies, I guess it's not impossible to have a character like that. In fact, it's definitely been done before. But in the movies, and also in Sonic Prime, for example, you have a Sonic who does have an arc, who changes. Because it's easier if your protagonist is experiencing... It's still a catalyst for change, but because he's experiencing these things that cause him and people around him to change. And it also expresses that emotion more easily to your audience, Like...
I'll be a little more
have
cynical
Sonic.
and say it's also like they're kind of hitting like the general Hollywood like script format as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it also started with that in mind.
I think
too.
they're also just trying to appeal to kids, right? I mean...
Yeah.
I guess, but it's like, well, we grew up with the Sonic that we liked Sonic as kids, and he didn't have these arcs that he was going through.
And I think barring
Go ahead.
I think regardless of the reasoning, I think I'm happy with a Sonic who's still growing. It hasn't become the Sonic we know, not because it's an origin story, but because if he wasn't, we wouldn't have gotten half the cool scenes in this movie. We wouldn't have gotten Super Sonic grabbing Shadow and flinging him through space out of rage. Like none of that would have happened ever.
I don't necessarily agree with that. You can make him different enough and have to grow more, but he also doesn't have to be annoying as shit. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's just him being Gen Z though. Like, I don't really know what you mean.
I don't know, man. I'm not asking for Frontier Sonic, where Roger Craig Smith is doing this. Like, I'm not asking for hyper mature Sonic. Just more like adventure,
Well, and we may get a more like slightly more mature Sonic as time goes on.
If that ends up being what it is, and it's just he is just growing up, then yeah, sure, I'll take that. I'm fine with that. I just want to get there. I don't want him to forever act like a 5-year-old.
That's why I'm saying like Amy, showing up and being like, you got to come to Mobius to check all this stuff out, or you got to go into this new like timeline, like. That could be the way they do it.
Mm-hmm. I got something to say. I feel like if a person can't learn to appreciate Sonic as he is right now in the movies, and like I guess try to understand why he is that way, they're gonna not like the movie in the future. You're gonna watch it again and be like, I hate this Sonic, and you're gonna skip to the parts where they're super, and like that part, and then never watch it again.
I don't.
And like I worry people will do that because I do like the Sonic, and I don't.
It's
have that
not.
same
It's not that I
opinion.
hate him, James. It's that when I play the games, I see the cast of characters, and it's really only down to Sonic and Shadow as to who's my favorite. And I love the others. I love Tails. I love Knuckles. I love Robotnik. You know, they're all great. Blaze. I love Blaze. Right. Ricky loves Vanilla. And
Size of the average human mother.
Yep.
when I watch the movies, it's not that I hate Sonic, but far and away Knuckles was easily my favorite, and now it's between him and Shadow.
Yeah, that's because well, I don't know if Shadow's the most mature, but Knuckles is definitely the most mature. He's like the big brother. His real ignorance is just from like lack of like
what child?
social skills.
How many children are gonna watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and go, I want to be like Sonic instead of Shadow? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure plenty do because he's funny. But I don't know, man. I think Shadow's gonna hit something for a lot of kids and ruin
That's
another
awesome.
generation.
Just like he did for us.
Yep.
He's also gonna.
By the way,
flippy hit Tom.
James, when we were talking about Terry Bogard and the English and how cool it is, and you brought up that Sonic does that, and the English loses a lot of that appeal. I was playing Sonic Adventure 2, and I swapped it to Japanese dialogue. And I watched the prison scene where Sonic's in the prison and Amy comes to rescue him. And they're talking back and forth, and Sonic hits that, no way! And I was like, oh, he has so much sauce. He has so much sauce, bro.
You are missing.
Oh,
listen,
he's so cool. Oh, no.
Listen, I love
what
the
have I
English
been
voice
missing?
I love the English dub, don't get me wrong, but we are missing out.
I love Roger.
You're missing the
I
context.
adore Roger's voice for Sonic, and I adore Frontiers in that performance, but like, I don't know, bro. It's like it's just like Terry. No matter how good you make the English dub, it might be impossible to beat that Japanese shit, dude.
Yeah, it's the JoJo principle.
It's the JoJo principle.
It's the JoJo principle.
The dub is so good. The dub's great. It honestly is. But it's just, you're missing. You're just missing out on like so much of the appeal if you're not watching it in Japanese, you know?
So there is something I do want to talk about. So how do you guys feel about like the rest of the whole Maria backstory besides the meteor stuff in this game?
You know,
in the movie, you mean?
In the movie, yeah.
I quite liked it. I thought
I think she felt a lot more like a real person.
Casey said he thought they were ripping off Toy Story. I assume he meant Toy Story 2 with the Jessie sequence, her flashback.
I guess so.
But you know, I don't know. I think they were just trying to portray an emotional flashback. But one, they definitely give Maria more here than they do in SA2.
Not in a certain other in what's the word, entry, but
I really liked her first interaction with Sonic where he's brooding and shit.
You mean Shadow?
Yeah, my bad, with Shadow. And he's all brooding and shit in the tank. And she like makes the same face back at him but smiling. Like when she did that, like, oh, look at you, all grumpy. And then drew the face on the tank.
God, that was so
I was
good.
like, yeah, no, they're doing it right. They're showing, because already I'm just like, okay, I believe it. Yeah, of course Shadow would like, this would be his big sister and he'd love her so much.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're making her feel a lot more like a real, like, you know, like a real kid, like a real person, rather than like Maria in the games kind of almost acts like lobotomy
Holy
era.
shit, I genuinely took the words out of my mouth. Like, I was sitting here thinking in my chair, like, you know who Maria reminds me of? Advent Children Aerith.
You must help everyone on the earth.
Do you know? Well,
You need to be a hero, Shadow.
I'll say Ransom.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know if
yeah.
I can agree anymore.
I think you should agree even more now.
No, I love her portrayal in the new stuff.
We will wait to talk about that. We'll see who has the major decision, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Should we once I guess I'll finish Shadow Generation. And do we want to just tack that discussion onto the Nosferatu podcast?
I mean, sure,
could make it separate.
but I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because I definitely want to talk to you.
If you catch my drift, whoever's still listening.
I don't understand. Please elaborate. No, I'm just kidding.
Ransom ruins another podcast.
Damn it!
Ruins another podcast.
Hey, at least I didn't ruin Christmas this time.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not
Still
yet.
have an opportunity.
Sorry, Casey.
So, now there is one thing about the there's one thing about the background that I'm a little not happy about, which is that they kind of cowered it out at the last second.
Oh, you
Yeah,
wanted
didn't
her shot in
shoot
the
her.
head?
They did not shoot that girl.
I'm
Yeah,
still fine. I'm fine with her being exploded.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Fine with her being exploded.
especially since they didn't go the route of her having some final words to Shadow,
Yeah.
because that wasn't
They also-
necessary to this plot. I almost
They also
go ahead.
go ahead. I'll say they also removed the whole illness part of her.
They did,
character.
and that's more interesting change because I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It
I
does
understand
kind of
it.
make it
saves time.
feel-
It definitely saves time, but
Yeah.
it's like
Also, now
the
that I think
Shadow
about it,
show could elaborate on that a lot if they.
Yeah. I'm realizing I forgot to mention, but Sonic Shadow Generations was in development, I think, late into this movie's production. So it's not like they could incorporate anything new that came out after the fact, you know?
Maybe. But like, I was just envisioning, like, ever since this movie was announced, like, the image I had in my head was just like, the movie comes out, it's opening night, everyone's packed in the theater watching it. Shadow and Maria are running from the gun soldiers.
Like
And the gun
cold
soldier
open.
takes out a gun and shoots her, and the crowd just starts
goes
like
wild.
cheering as if like it's a cameo character in an Avengers movie.
Okay, so that did happen at the Sonic Symphony, so at least there's footage of something like that happening.
Wait, what?
Yeah, one of those live Sonic Symphonies that's been going around the country, because like pretty much everyone gets uploaded to YouTube by someone. They do have a clip of that happening, I think in All Hail Shadow or like I Am All of Me being played, and like half the audience like cheers when it happens, and it's so funny.
Nice.
So that does exist. Your dream somewhat came true.
Wonderful. But yeah, it's like I guess they had to because of the MPAA.
I do
cowards.
also think that scene was another really good moment for Gerald, where Jim Carrey got to play. I'm not being silly. I'm not being villainous. Even I'm
He's
scared
fine.
and trying to save my children,
Yeah.
and that was good. Love to see that.
Oh yeah, like God, that scene was done pretty well. I think it was a little weird. The scene was framed like, God, we were talking about this movie all out of order. Sorry, everyone. So like that scene's interesting because like Gerald's running, like they're trying to take Shadow. You know, they're trying to give a very concise version, so there's no complicated things you have to explain. Where, okay, the military wants Shadow, they're running away, and then you know they get exploded. But I was interpreting it in the moment. I was like, oh, Gerald must be lying. Like he tried to do something, and the government found out and is about to come after him, and you know
That's what I
Gerald's
was
gonna
kind of-
trick Shadow into thinking he's getting revenge, but really it was his fault all along. I thought that's the direction they were gonna go.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting that like the lab explosion was something that was like engineered,
Mhm.
but
No, just an accident.
yeah, it just ended up being like how they, you know, get out of having to shoot Maria.
Yeah, we should just bring her back to life via Sonic CD's time travel and then shoot her in Sonic 4. I think that would be extra epic. Then you get your wish, Carter. And then after that, Zavik shows up, and he's like, I'm Zavik from the Deadly Six from Sonic Lost World, and everyone cheers at that too. That'd go hard.
I think that would be a true jumping the shark moment. I think the
Like-
drop off on viewership for the next movie would be so massive.
Well, I think already like it's a very like I make the joke about. I think that it's an equal chance of them introducing Silver and the next movie just being it. Because, like, I feel like once you pull the Shadow story, like, this is kind of the peak in terms of, like, how many people you're getting into the theater.
Okay, so I did used to think that, but after seeing the response to this movie and, like, watching people talk about it, an astounding amount of people are like, okay, I didn't care about these movies, but now I want to watch 4. And a lot of them are specifically because Amy's in it. A lot of people are excited about Amy.
It'll be really interesting with Amy because, like, what has Amy... Amy, has she really been used much in, like, the mainline games recently?
In the last few games?
Yes,
sort of,
but,
yeah. She's gotten more stuff to do, for sure.
But I will say this. After Amy and Metal Sonic, the pulls will only get more and more niche. Like, Rouge is great. Rouge is not Shadow or Amy.
Yeah, like Rouge and Silver.
So I'm already gonna say, like, okay, if they can't show, like, someone getting shot by a laser gun, like, they're not putting Rouge in. I'm sorry, she would have been in this game.
No, they're gonna put Rouge in. She's just gonna
movie.
She's just gonna have that Sonic Prime design where she's all covered up. No, even in the new game, they've actually adjusted, like, her little heart thing, like her bust, so that it's slightly less revealing. Okay. A lot of people haven't noticed, so they probably have already accounted for that. Honestly. They've got options.
Like, after Rouge, it really is just like, what the fuck is left? Silver? Like, okay, Silver, people like Silver, but he's not...
It's gonna be like Silver and Blaze, and I feel like that would be it.
There's nothing else that would actually attract anyone.
Well,
I mean,
guys,
you gotta create
Emerald from Sonic X.
Charmy!
Okay, so that'd go hard, first of all. But secondly, I think they have to create new fans of the characters by featuring them first, right? Like, you know, when Sonic 11 comes out, you can saw Sonic and Shadow and Silver in the trailer. Like, people who have been watching the movies will now know who, say, Cream the Rabbit or Jet the Hawk are, and will, be excited to see them again. You know, people will become more familiar with the characters. Maybe they'll be featured in the games more, and then, you create the hype.
Ironically, I'd be okay with Cream the Rabbit.
Yeah, like,
I would be too. Ricky would definitely be okay with Cream so long as it leads to Vanilla.
Vanilla being in. I don't know how they do Chow, though, because Chow are apparently the mascot.
In all honesty,
here's the thing,
go ahead.
Is that, like, I feel like there's definitely a worry in the next movie about them making Amy... So here's the thing, like, Amy can either go really good or really, really poorly.
Just make her boom. Just make her boom, Amy. There you go. Done. Easy.
I actually really trust them. Mainly, I haven't brought this up to Carter yet, but Tyson Hess, who does, like, the character designs for these and is a humongous Sonic fan, he works directly with Fowler and some of the voice actors to make sure, like, they actually get the Sonic stuff right. He kind of went out of his way to say, yeah, anything like that's like accurate to Sonic that's in Sonic 3, like that's my fault. You're welcome. But these people like him and like Ian Flynn, who are on the lore team or whatever, who like are deep in the Sonic trenches, they understand like the direction people want for Amy and what's like good for the character. Like the direction now seems to be, we want her more involved, we want her more actiony, but also we're not getting rid of her love for Sonic. We're just, we don't want it to be clingy, but like we're not removing that aspect of her character at all.
Right. Well, and my thing is, like, I feel like there's going to be maybe a little bit of a worry for, in the next movie, like, that Amy would be kind of maybe turned into a bit of a, like, damsel character.
They better not.
I don't see that at all, especially
I don't think they're gonna,
how they teased her.
Yeah, they're not going to have, like, her get kidnapped or some crap.
I feel like if they put, like, maybe Cream in and had it be like, oh, Amy is, like, getting Sonic's help because she's wanting to go, like, save Cream. Like, that could be, like, a good way to introduce the character, and, like...
I have a hypothesis. Having seen her hammer and all the metal Sonics in the scene, I think, like, time travel's already involved. Like, I think there's like future tech or something. It could be like that's how they'll introduce Silver, is like Amy's like her straight up related to him. Like maybe the hedgehogs are tied to time travel in some format. Anyway,
If
Well, also,
if I'm being
character
honest,
in
go
like
ahead.
that kind of cloak does kind of like
Like-
scream time travel in a way.
Very Cable.
One idea I had though is that maybe the way they'll have the next movie work is like hypothetically, like Tails and Knuckles get kidnapped, and so it's a Sonic and Amy movie, and she
I'd be
she
chill
falls in
with
love with them
that.
over
That
the
would be
course of
really
the
cool.
movie. Yeah, that way they're both like, you don't have to worry so much about the other characters. It's just a two-person movie. Amy maybe falls in love with them over the course of the movie, and also they're allowed to do cool stuff. I think people would love that.
If I'm being honest, I do genuinely want 4 to be CD, right? And
Yeah.
y'all's ideas were great. And then 5, I don't want them to tease a new character for 4. And I can see different ways around this, maybe, but I want 5 to be Chaos and make it an ensemble cast with the people we've already met. And then just let that be it. I think
Except for Shadow. I feel like I can't have Shadow in the Sonic Adventure adaptation. I don't want it.
I do, and I think you're crazy for saying that.
No, I am definitely biased. It's just I grew up and Sonic Adventure was always my favorite, and it feels really wrong to have Shadow in that story.
I don't see why. Like,
He could appear, just he can't be one of the main characters.
no, I think just have it be a combined force of all everyone's favorite furries, and just have all
say
5
that
of
for
them.
Heroes.
Man, Heroes, I feel like, has less of a plot hook than even CD. CD
wait.
has something unique going on with time travel. Heroes is literally just, we gotta stop Eggman again.
I feel like
Okay,
I feel
wait.
like Metal, just whatever the first time you have him, which will be next time, he's also going to become Metal Overlord, and there's not going to be much reason to do heroes, you know.
They gotta, like, combine the two in some
he's
way,
going
right?
to, you know how Eggman assembled the big mech like out of nowhere
Yeah.
in the second, like he's gonna get the Sonic, like Metal Sonic's gonna get the Sonic Quill and be
Or
able
the
to do
Master
that.
Emerald.
Or,
You mean the
you
Master
know.
Emerald or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
I have an alternative idea, by the way, which is do Silver and do kind of do 06, but merge it with Adventure, and instead of Mephiles, have it be Chaos, and Chaos is like the bringer of destruction.
You could do something like that. He was called the God of Destruction.
Right,
And also,
like, I can see, like, I could pretty easily see
I
Chaos
think-
creating a hell world that Silver has to travel back in time to fix, you know?
I think 06 is going to have to wait. Not because Silver necessarily needs to wait, but because if they even try to have a finale with 3 supers, like that, how do you top that in the movie?
I'm
universe?
saying make it I'm saying Chaos, don't try and top it. Let that be the last one.
The only movie you can have after
I
that
see.
is
I
the
want them.
Chow X Minions spinoff.
Yeah, there you
we're
go.
gonna
There you
we're gonna have a Chow Minions movie.
I'm going to blast you with the Eclipse Cannon.
Like-
Okay, I had so I feel like they have to for Sonic
Which,
4.
by the way, I loved the Chow Cafe sequence.
Oh,
That was so
absolutely.
Yeah,
cute.
that was cute. I thought the Detective Pikachu joke was, there's a certain brand of Knuckles joke / Jax the Destroyer joke, which is just, someone made an observation. I'm now going to say it really loud. I'm going to repeat it really loud and laugh, and that's the joke. And it's just like,
It's just innocent.
I've
like a kid.
never been big on that specific kind of joke. Now, the Casper joke with Knuckles was golden.
That was
That was
really
awesome.
funny.
That was really good.
hilarious. Oh, real quick, so long as we're talking about laughs, easily the funniest joke in the movie, and the one that actually got a real, like, out loud gut laugh out of me. James was there. When Gerald died, and it just made the tiny bug zapper sound.
He just gets zapped like a bug. I loved that so much.
That actually made me laugh really hard.
It's like, you know what? You didn't have him die by a firing squad in this movie like he did in the game, but like, I'm okay. I'm more than okay getting zapped like a bug.
Yeah, this is great. That was
Gerald
great.
really has all the most memorable deaths.
I could almost see that being Jim Carrey's idea. It was so funny.
Yeah. The Super Quill doing it was also pretty funny, a little detail.
Mhm.
God.
Oh yeah, so apparently there was an interview. They said like, just because of the time frame, and like they didn't have to worry about this in the games because Gerald was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But Gerald is still like alive and like of able body 50 years later from when he was
Doing all
already
that
looking
dancing
kind of
and shit.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that extended dance sequence, by the way.
No, that
Very
was genuinely
very
really
good.
good choreography.
Yeah.
But it was
They
also
did
around
have-
real quick. It was also around that point where I started thinking maybe I would have preferred if they did a more direct adaptation of Adventure 2.
Yes, like that was it was funny. I was thinking that's a little much. Like, okay, this is obviously like, okay, it's Jim Carrey time. Let's spend 5 minutes with him. Well, nothing really progresses.
Although when I look back, I think it's because the second act of the movie is so much slower than the first and third that it was more a that was more of a symptom rather than the disease itself.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I
there
love
was
that
a-
sequence, and I will go back to watch it. It's just invading the building and bringing Tom and Maddie back. Even though they have a great role here, it's still just not. It's not as interesting as before and after.
Well, it also just
Right.
it breaks the tension. Like,
Mhm.
you know, supposedly this is like we're on a really tight time frame. We're really trying to like beat Robotnik. Well, we're trying to beat the Robotniks to like the last key, and then we just have this dance sequence. So what I thought was like Sonic was going to like zoom by them in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Like,
What were you
You
gonna say
know-
a second ago, Carter?
yeah. So what I was originally gonna say is, you know, Gerald is still alive and okay 50 years later. They had a scene that they cut out where in his prison cell, Gerald is like old and wrinkly, and then he takes a hit on the quill, and you
Yeah, the
see like
shadow
his
quill.
wrinkles kind of go back, and
Mhm.
it like kind of reverses his aging.
I guess chaos energy gives you life force. I don't know. I kind of wish they did. I mean, like, I just like a 1 second little thing just showed that happened. Like that would clear some things up for people looking on. But I guess I
it's
get
fine,
why it's not
you
a
know.
movie.
It like
It's just
Oh,
I think it's
by the
somewhat
way-
important because guy's over 100.
Speaking about the London operation, hey Ransom, did you have blackface on your bingo card for the Sonic 3 movie?
What?
I did not.
What? What are we talking about?
Are you
Come on, James.
Donut Lord turns
Oh.
into the other guy.
Yeah. I didn't think about
I'm
that.
gonna be real. That thought didn't occur to me, Carter. But honestly, yeah, I think that counts.
Wow.
Wow, Sonic, way to go.
The Easter Bunny from Hop
Well,
would never have allowed
Is that your
this.
man, Sonic? That's your man's? Wow. Cyclops would never do this.
Man, you know what? Donut Lord, you were exempt from a moment from ACAB, but no, you are.
Well, Shadow kind of put him in his place.
ACAB now includes Donut Lord.
By the way,
Ah.
James Marsden has just kept mentioning Cyclops during these Sonic 3 interviews.
Oh, that's funny.
And at one point, an interviewer goes, "What do you? How would Cyclops beat Shadow in a fight?" And you can see the look at his eye for a moment where he's just like, "He can't." But then he answers, "He'd just punch a hole through him." And they're like, "What do you mean punch a hole?" Well, you know, because they're concussive blasts, you know, that's great that he knows the distinction, that he knows they're punch beams, not
Yeah.
lasers, but. It's still just like, it would have been so funny if he just went, I don't fucking know. Fuck is he going to do against Shadow?
Just throw teleports and crap.
Mhm.
Also, the movie, I was like, it's too bad he never uses a Chaos Spear. And then
then he did it.
And then he did.
With no
Yeah.
explanation.
So, do we
Oh,
want to
yeah, not
talk
at all.
about
That's
that?
awesome,
Do we want to
actually.
talk about that final sequence?
Yeah,
we need to
I
like
do.
we still haven't talked about a lot of the movie in any order and all.
It's
We
fine.
keep talking about things other than the movie.
This is a
Rapid
flaccid
fire.
podcast, guys, not a comprehensive podcast.
Rapid fire. They go through the opening and they're having a little party because it's the anniversary of Earth and they're reminding that family is important. Yada yada.
Tails
and then
is
they go to
fucking.
Tokyo and they fight.
Tails' holograms also suck. Tails continues to be useless.
I thought that was gonna be a twist that like Eggman or whatever.
No, I
put those
also thought
holograms,
that.
they kidnapped
yeah,
them
Yeah.
while they were
they
gone.
had good tension there.
Yeah, and then they go to Tokyo and then they fight Shadow and Shadow's there.
It was a
and
really
he
good
broke
fight. It
out
was a
of
really
his
good fight. Talk about low budget flights, no food or movies.
thing.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. And then they splatted on the ground and died.
Yeah,
that was really sad.
Roll credits. Amy shows up.
Okay,
she sees
so-
a dead Sonic.
Yeah.
Goes, oh my god.
back to this part, Shadow's really busted because he doesn't need a Chaos Emerald. Though just instantly teleports everywhere, roundhouse kicks everyone. And then, yeah, that motorcycle fight's awesome. I thought that was going to tie into the message of the movie. Tom was like, make good decisions. And Sonic immediately fights in a big populated area in the middle of the road at high speeds.
Just like
everyone there
at
could
the
have died.
beginning of Sonic 2.
That's true. But that was also framed as a bad decision. Also, you know, Shadow with the gun on a motorcycle is awesome. Glad they did that. Very cool he teleported the motorcycle. We hadn't mentioned that yet. That's neat.
I like how Sonic's spin dash looks in these movies.
Oh yeah. Commander Walters just effing dies in the Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my god, he did die in the Chow Garden, you're right.
The whole time I was watching that scene, my first thought was, wow, he died in a Chow Garden. Second thought, this man does not want to be in these movies anymore. Continuing from there, they're
literally
like,
gets drone strike.
Sonic,
yeah, I know, right?
I always loved you.
And then they kissed. That would never mind. I was gonna mention the picture from
The egg bots come in, then they
egg bots.
Stone comes in on the motorcycle. I honestly didn't think it was gonna be
that,
Stone, if I'm being real. I fucking
I thought it was my first thought was it was Kristen Ritter's character, but then we saw her after. No, right before that though, they're like, oh, we can't trust Gunn. You know, we don't know who to
Because of what
trust. Which,
Shadow
okay,
said.
I guess that makes sense. And then Kristen Ritter or whatever is like, oh, they got the car as aliens. I was like, oh, I see why you can't trust Gunn. She must be a traitor. That never went anywhere. And yeah, Agent Stone shows up. He does this whole thing. I guess you can just ride a motorcycle and be really cool. And then Crab.
Yeah, and then Crab.
We need to talk about this. We need to talk about his. We need to talk about the soap opera. We need to talk about Eggman.
Dude,
drumming,
my
his
theater
moves.
loved the soap opera.
Especially the later scene. I'll wait a second.
There weren't many people in our theater, and they weren't reacting. Although, when we got out, I overheard a guy explaining to his girlfriend the significance of live and learn.
Oh, that's wonderful. I did not hear that.
After the movie in my theater, I heard like a few like seats over a kid explaining to his parents about Amy.
Oh,
that's
great.
adorable. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, so they go in the big crab, and Eggman's he's large now. He's got boobs. Congratulations. And I love that scene where he just gets shocked because he's doing his whole thing without noticing they're there. Very good.
He gets a little more canon every day.
Yeah, he and Stone really are a pair, though. Like, people sort of have been joking about, like, shipping them. But,
yeah,
like,
it's really not that much of a joke.
It's not. Like, I think Carrie and the other actor, like, also kind of like the idea. It's just funny, because they joke. They make a lot of jokes in the movie, like, Agent Stone, why are you tied up? Do that on your own time. Like, stuff like that.
That's one I was a little surprised to hear.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Toxic Yowie, honestly, I like it more than I thought.
Eggman gets his little magical girl transformation.
He does.
Yeah, he gets
they give him a better outfit every time. Anytime that man changes outfits, it gets a little bit better every time.
He gets, like, two better outfits in this movie, too. They go to the gun base, and, you know, they play peekaboo with Shadow. I love the interaction between Tails and Stone, where Tails is like being wholesome about his friendship, and Stone's
honestly,
like, oh, yeah.
Again, that scene made me think Stone was gonna play a bigger fucking role.
Yeah, I almost feel like more stuff was cut from this movie.
Maybe.
I feel like they had a lot of ideas that they now have to save for later.
I mean, yeah, like, you know, honestly, Stone could have created a bad future over his sorrow over losing Eggman.
Yeah,
absolutely, it's possible, and he's gonna come back, but he better have a bigger role.
What if they just give Stone the Robotnik mustache?
That'd be really funny.
Really funny.
I'm certainly curious to see that if that happens.
I've been training day in and day out to become like an egg.
It would be funny to see him like that because he's like consistently really well put together in terms of like outfits.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, we did get to see him shirtless for a moment.
Oh yeah, you know he did just rip his shirt off.
Very good. I kind of wish that scene just lingered.
Another moment.
And he just shows up in like a later scene, and his shirt is still like ripped off.
No, yeah,
I didn't notice that.
It's true, that did happen, and it is funny, and it's also just like, all right, Stone, you're okay with this.
I wonder if Eggman he didn't bring the stone from the mushroom planet here. That'd have been funny if Stone met that stone. But
I forgot about that joke. That was a good joke.
It was a good joke. Knuckles being scared of ghosts. That's actually a reference to a recent Sonic cast, whatever it's called. That too. But the thing is, in the games, he's not scared of ghosts, at least till recently. A new Tails tube came out that sort of canonized that. So that was pretty funny. But that was pretty good. And then Eggman meeting his grandfather. It's almost like we're two characters in a movie played by the same actor.
I didn't like that line.
I thought it was great. It gave me a good chuckle. It was
too
a little too on the nose.
It was way too much.
That was definitely like very much a like, okay, this isn't Eggman anymore. This is Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I allow it. I allow that one quip. I think it's fine.
I personally would not have let it happen.
Skill issue.
Especially they look into the fucking camera. Like, no, it's too fucking much.
I'm fine with it. My main issue. This is an issue I haven't brought up yet. Actually, is I'm fine with Jim Carrey playing Gerald, but I feel like he sounds too much like Homer Simpson or something. Like I don't know. The voice doesn't really work
I didn't hear it before, but now I do. Thanks for that. You ruined Gerald in this movie for me.
It's not the whole time, and when he needs to be serious, he is. And I still think he sounds fine in those moments. But like, when he is being just
again.
When he is just being like silly, like it's like, especially after recent events, it just does not feel like Gerald.
Merge! I made the ultimate life form.
They
killed him. They killed Lisa. Merge! They killed Lisa. They shot her. Fuck it.
Shadow,
why did you tell me that?
This world is ham and we must steam it, Shadow.
Gerald!
Oh yeah, while I pause on this scene, by the way, at the end of Sonic 2, they break the Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds fly apart, and then they reform the Master Emerald so they're separate. They just sort of like threw that in the trash because the Chaos Emeralds are still in the Master Emerald in this movie.
Did that happen? Maybe that was in the Knuckles show? I don't know.
It wasn't, as far as I know.
I mean, it's something they did in between like movies, I guess.
It could also just be like, I don't know, but the energy flew up, but it came back. I don't know. But like, I'm fine with it. It's just, you could tell they're like, we don't have time for a Chaos Emerald hunt in this movie, man, or to explain again what they are. Let's just say the Master Emerald's got them all in it, and it's still got ultimate power for convenience sake, which I'm fine with for now. Because, like, having them hunt for Chaos Emeralds, like Infinity Stones or whatever, I can see being a problem. So I don't blame that. But anyway, yeah, so...
Anyway, who cares? Shut up. Sonic goes super, and holy fuck, a Dragon Ball fight happens.
It's so good.
That was so... Like,
boy, did I wake up.
It went even harder than I thought it was going to. Like, them getting hit, like, through mountains and just going all over the... looks so good.
That shot from space where you just see the yellow trails of them just globe-trotting in milliseconds, like... Oh my god, that was so hard.
Listen.
Punching him to Egypt and then punching him to some other continent. Oh, it was
it's
so
also
good.
Arguably the area from Sonic Adventure 2 where the pyramid and the shuttle...
Oh yeah, that could have been a reference.
So... everyone's got the feeling that Eggman's got too much in this movie, Jim Carrey. And I'm fine with all the extra scenes. He's having a good time. But, like, in that spot, I was like, please stop cutting away.
Okay, there was only one. There was one specific one. Like, the Ivo versus Gerald fight alone was already, like, fairly lame compared to everything else that was happening. But, oh my god, bro. Okay. So Sonic and Shadow talk, and it's a good talk. It's good. No notes. I liked it. They dap up. Live and Learn starts playing, and James and I are elbowing each other. We're so fucking excited. We're bouncing in our seats. We're so goddamn excited. And then it stops, and it's like, oh, that's all we're gonna get, isn't it? Oh, because it cuts back. Can you please stop asking if I'm still watching? Thank you. And the Eggman. It cuts back to the Eggman, and it's like, oh, and it's just like, ah, that's a shame. And then it cuts back to Sonic and Shadow, and it restarts playing Live and Learn.
It just plays the same part of Live and Learn again.
And it's just
I think
like,
the second time it's symphonic or something.
it is,
but...
and it's just like, you know, if I was in the editing room, I would not have made that decision.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will tell you
No,
that.
I had it play the whole time.
I said I would have some comments on like the usage of Live and Learn later. I think that they actually did really mess up on like how Live and Learn is used in that fight, because it's just, you're just doing the main riff over and over again. You're starting and stopping it when there's more to the song you can use.
Just
like,
play it through, even through the Eggman fight.
Just
like,
combine. Even that, James. I think you could just combine the two segments that they had, and just let it play, so that way you can have like a full melody and full like verse, right?
Dude,
like,
if we just got
I think it's also like,
God.
when you're going back to the Eggman, you could maybe just be playing a less intense part of the song, or like bring the volume down on it just a little bit. Like, movies do this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, just make it a little, just use the song dynamically. And like the song has like, you know, a bridge and like more, I guess, low energy parts. Like, they just could have been a lot more creative in how they used this song. It felt really weird, just the starting and stopping, and oh, we're just going to use this like little one segment. Just,
hey Carter, did you hear Escape from the City in the movie?
I don't think so.
So apparently,
in
in
the
the credits,
credits,
it says it's in there. Apparently, I heard it was like someone's ringtone, but the only ringtone I remember is Eggman's. You know, Eggman.
Me too. I also only remember.
But apparently, it played at some point in the movie, and we just didn't hear it. Also, before we continue on this topic, we were pretty close to catching up to this point in the movie anyway. In my run through the plot, and I have more to say on the super thing in a second. But I was gonna say that whole prison sequence I think was inspired both by Eggman breaking into the gun facility in Sonic Adventure 2, and also Rouge's like infiltration missions. You know, which also makes it extra weird. Rouge wasn't in that, but you get the. Sorry, again, I am jumping back. We'll jump back to the hype super stuff in a minute. You get the scene where, you know, they're setting out to infiltrate and all that, and none of that matters too much. But the stuff with Stone and Shadow and their revenge, people love the revenge squawk joke for some reason. I don't know what that's about. No, I remember what I was about to say. The frickin' they go back to the soap opera, and the two men are fighting over this lady, and Shadow's just like, she should just kill them both. She's not a prize to be won.
She should just kill them both. She's not a prize to be won.
That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was probably
good.
the best Shadow joke.
That was really good. But yeah, after that, you know, they break in. There's this whole. I think the gravity section is a reference sort of to those like things on the Ark, like the green thingies that like affect your gravity. I don't know.
What's up? I could see that, maybe.
Tom almost died a couple times.
I thought they were gonna get him with the rebar, and I was like,
No,
oh,
that would be
that's
dark. Holy crap!
That
He
would
just
be
freaking
gnarly.
just blood everywhere. Gun's really incompetent at that point in the movie. She just walks up and starts yelling at the dude during a lockdown, and he lets her in. Like, what the heck? The guy at the counter. I mean, that was wild.
Yeah, that was kind of insane.
That guy lost his job and probably got executed by firing squad. But yeah, so, and after that, Tom gets smashed in the chest, and Shadow's like, oops, oh well, you know, anything for revenge. Sonic gets
Pretty sure
mad.
Shadow could have punched a hole through that man's chest.
Oh yeah, I was like, if he died here, I don't think they're gonna kill him off. But if he died here, I'd believe it. They have this segment where, you know, Shadow gets angry at Knuckles, and apparently him meeting with Wade there is a reference. Sonic meets with Knuckles and, you know, is arguing for the Emerald, and apparently Sonic meeting with Wade there is a reference to the Knuckles show, which I haven't seen personally. My understanding is Knuckles leaves the Emerald with Wade in the end, and that's why it's there.
I mean, yeah, I would have figured.
So it's just a funny little
That
cameo
was a good
of
gag.
him.
That was a good use of Flames of Disaster per man.
Oh yeah,
That was good.
And then he's like, I have to protect this thing. I can't let anyone. Oh, I tried my best. It's over. Sonic just like angrily turning super is a really cool shot, but also it's funny he did it in front of Wade, of all characters. Like, I want to see the reverse shot where Wade's just looking at him like, huh. What's that? Is he turning into a god? What's happening here?
He cuts back to Wade, and it's the exact same shot.
The flames
and
of
he
disaster.
goes, the super of Sonic, or something. It's like the exact same zoom,
The
the
power
exact same
of the
face.
emeralds.
Oh my god. I'd fucking die if they did that, bro. I would genuinely fucking die if they did that.
Bro was playing hockey with the Master Emerald, by the way. That's crazy.
Knuckles, you fucking idiot, dude.
God, Green Hills was barely featured in that movie. Oh yeah, there was the scene where they were playing with the puppet at Tom's house and stuff.
What are you talking about? Wade is the perfect person to leave the Master Emerald with. Have you seen hockey players fight?
No. No,
I
I
don't know
haven't.
what you're talking about.
I don't understand the reference.
Wait, you don't understand? It's the
This is
joke
a
is
waste
that
of time.
hockey players fight a ton during games.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like it's a thing.
Everyone listening to the podcast, I hope you've learned this lesson.
You're the only
Hockey
one who
players
actually
fight a lot.
learned
You're the
something
only
today,
one who didn't
James.
know
Jesus
that.
Christ.
I'm fairly certain someone's gonna listen and be like, "Oh, that's neat. Why would I know that? I don't watch hockey. I watch Sonic."
James, we dehumanize you a little bit more every day, and every day you earn it.
I'm sorry, I'm no hockey expert.
Look
okay?
at your fucking PFP! Look at your Discord thing that's bouncing up and down right now. Carter and I are just little avatars of ourselves, approximations of what we
little
look like,
creature.
and you're fucking.
Why must beekeepers fight?
I always forgot his fucking name. Dark. No. Anti-black coat
something like-
nightmare.
There you go. Kingdom Hearts thing.
When are we get? God, we need to commission 10 to get you some fucking art, dog.
Absolutely. Also, I think Tom's puppet should have become Super instead of Sonic, but that's a different conversation.
I think Tom should have died a horrible, gruesome death.
No, I like
It's fine.
Tom.
No, I like him too. I think Tom should.
Eggman
It
should
should be
have
revealed
pulled
that he
out
has
the
a
gun that he
mutation.
almost shot Amy with in Sonic Adventure 2, and
Oh,
used
yeah.
that against Tom.
That's crazy.
Anyway.
I mean, Tom punched Eggman a couple times, so.
Anyway, yes, Sonic goes super.
Yeah.
Grabs
this next-
Shadow so fast.
The shot where he just zips through the Eclipse can. Oh, I skipped the part where the space colony arc is just not a thing. It's just the freaking
Yeah, it's fine.
underground thing. But the Eclipse
Yeah.
cannon was built by Gun, by his specifications, flies into space. Yeah, he just Supersonic just zips through things so fast. Like the pan shot of the shot where it's just from outside in space, and you just see the yellow line instantly go through it, and it cuts back to inside, and they're about to get sucked out. It's like that goes hard. It's so fast, and then grabbed him, is flying him through space. Ransom, Carter, I don't think there's words for how cool that part is to me.
It was
first
really,
of all.
really cool.
Even before we get to them fighting, just him Rogue's got Shadow by the fur and is yelling in his face, and Shadow's just looking at him. Like, you're trying to fight a god right now, and they're just arguing. That's crazy.
Also,
They land. Oh, go
Shadow
on.
punched the super out of that man.
Shadow punched the
He
super. That's the second. I mean, Knuckles did it in the games, but I also remember Knuckles did that to Eggman and Sonic 2, and now Shadow did.
Knuckles DP'd it out of Sonic and Sonic.
I
game.
know it's probably a chaos power, but it's also weird to imagine anyone can just punch a super's emeralds out. It's kind of defeats the purpose.
He
But
was
and then
low on rings, and that made it run out.
So in the trailers, this volcano scene was there, but they did not show any of the super stuff. So I knew they were gonna fight. I was under the impression that the Eclipse Cannon was going to be used at lesser power. It was going to damage the Earth and create that volcanery area, and then Sonic and Shadow were going to fight. So what actually happened was so much cooler. I was with Ransom, but Carter, I'm excited to hear how you reacted to what happens when they both lunge for the emeralds.
Oh, just the pillar of light in the sky, and they just both emerge super.
That
was a really good moment.
They come out super. Sonic tries to Dragon Ball punch Shadow, and he just blocks it by standing there. Even the Earth breaks under him.
By the way,
they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Super Shadow's design, I'm really glad they went with the more white-haired design.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they did that. I always liked that.
Even now, he's still got lighter hair than Sonic, and when he goes super, in the games.
I don't know if y'all knew this, but in SA2, the original design of Super Shadow was he was going to have more silver hair than gold.
I always
it
remember
looked
him with like more silver.
Yeah, in the
it's-
original Dreamcast version, it's practically silver.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
from what I've seen of SA2, he's pretty much just gold.
Yeah, it was altered, I think, in the battle version, and then lighting changes. There were a lot of lighting changes in those scenes. Like it's completely different
Right.
in Dreamcast.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I do feel that I feel like the more silvery tone mixes better with the red highlights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. But he looked great.
Also-
He looked awesome.
By the way, for people who aren't like
What
me,
fucking song is this?
I don't actually remember off the top of my head.
I did not know that.
What song is that? I can't remember. I put it on this playlist.
It's Ares Island first movement.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you barely hear these songs in the game. So for those who haven't played like every Sonic game, Super Sonic and Super Shadow have never fought in any of the games ever. They fought in Sonic
It's actually
X.
kind of weird when you think about
No,
it.
it is.
Yeah,
super
they
weird.
fought. Well, it's because Super Sonic, except for in Frontiers, has always been a thematic like thing. It's always it's not just a finale. It's also like a finality for your character. They reach a conclusion. They're fighting for the theme of the story.
No,
So you
hold
never
on.
have two supers like fighting each other.
It's thematic in Frontiers.
Yeah, but
It's,
what I mean
it's
is
thematic of
it's,
my dick getting hard.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at is because of that, you never really see it in the games. I think it may have happened in like Archie comics. But yeah, it really only like with Sega's influence has only happened in Sonic X. So to see this happen in the movie was something I didn't fully expect and also made me incredibly excited. I wanted it to happen, but I was like, there's no way you can have a Super Sonic Super Shadow fight and also have them do the recreation of the finale and have it like work in my eyes. I don't know how to explain it. It wouldn't have felt. They both feel like final big climaxes. So to have them both happen, something I didn't expect. But yeah, they turn super. They have a Dragon Ball fight where they're freaking launching through everywhere. Amazing. And it keeps cutting back to Eggman. But yeah, they zoop zap around and Shadow hits Sonic into the ground. And he's like, talking about revenge. Like, how can you abandoned your friends? I thought you cared about your family. What was his name? Tom. And Sonic, like, that punch, dude, where he just launches him directly to the moon.
It was sick. That was awesome.
That was so good.
It was really good.
Genuinely good fight choreography for what little we got.
It's clear like a lot of effort was put into because they still have human like movements occasionally because they're movie characters, but like they did manage to get moves in there that are like more because Sonic's all about momentum and like spinning and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
But it's something really important a lot of people don't understand. It's like in his character design and his actions, it's always that fluid motion and moving that momentum into like spiraling attacks and stuff. And like they do get some of that in there in the movie. But anyway, Ben Schwartz, who's like a comedic voice actor, like him doing that anger in Sonic, I thought was really good, especially with that punch.
Yeah, and I did adore this fight because it's like, the Sonic 2 fights were like, they were all right, I guess. And then the Sonic 1 final fight was wet fart, kinda.
Yeah, I thought then it was all right.
And it's like, and then they do just give us the Dragon Ball Z fight. They give us like zipping around like locations faster than you can like really see. Just.
Oh, so good. We didn't get a super spin dash, did we?
I don't think so.
That'd have been cool, I think.
We got a super chaos spears.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, and bro just punches him to the moon. That shot and like the choir like peaks at this point. I rewatched some people uploading on YouTube. Like the choir peaks and like you get the shot of the moon and Super Shadow flying to the moon. It's like, what is this movie I'm watching, bro? So I showed Carter even before Ransom watched them. I showed Carter the first Sonic movie. Because I had watched it, I don't remember, I don't think I watched it in theaters. I'd watched it, and I was like, Carter, you gotta watch this. It's alright, but I just wanted you to see the Sonic movie, just because. And, like, that is seriously just a buddy cop CG movie. Haha, a real person has met this video game character kind of film. To go from that to that scene where Super Sonic punches Shadow to the moon and, like, the choir, and, like, I'm like, this is not the same franchise.
No, I know.
This is different. What am I watching right now? This cannot be real. But even then, I was like, okay, this must be it, right? This is the cool shot of the movie we're not gonna get the final climax. Like maybe they're gonna end it a different way to subvert expectations. But we got our Supersonic Super Shadow. But no, they sit on the moon. They have the conversation. You know, they have this really. I thought it was a really good connection where Shadow's pointing at his chest and he's like, you know, put a stop. You know, kill me. You know, end it. And in that moment, me and Sonic both remembered the earlier scene where Tom touched Sonic's chest and reminded him to, you know, be a better person, don't let his emotions get the best of him.
Yeah, when that first happened, like with Tom.
Yeah. In my lungs.
I immediately was just like, wow, can't wait to hear that at the end of the movie.
I thought it was done pretty well.
The thematic wraparound. It's just, you know, you see it coming, but that doesn't make it bad. It's not bad writing to do that.
The one I saw coming was, just because the star is faded, its light still shines.
That was such
she's
an
gonna die.
Like, we're gonna hear this later.
By the way, Maria's roller skates being like a tease for Shadow getting.
I like that. I thought that was nice.
That's fun.
Love that. Even though she didn't have the illness, I thought their relationship. I'm cutting back because now it's relevant, but like I thought their relationship was pretty good in the movie. It felt really natural as like siblings. Shadow felt like a little sibling. I love they sat down in the little tent. We're watching the movie. By the way, I didn't catch this, but that Godzilla-esque monster was a reference to the Bio Lizard.
God damn, that's what people are talking about. Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, the
people
alien
kept saying
freak.
Bio Lizard reference, and I was like, when the fuck did you see that?
I'm not surprised the Biolizard didn't happen because like that just came out of nowhere.
Biolizard's a lot to
Adventure
introduce
2.
to people.
I still feel like they should have had like that be the subtitle of the movie. It's like Biolizard: the Attack of the Alien Freak, because like that could be a cool name.
Do you want to know what this movie was called in Japan, James?
Operation Tokyo.
Yep.
Yeah, Operation Tokyo, which is really funny because they spend like only 20 minutes there.
They spend more time in London than they do Tokyo. And I was thinking of this, the Shadow Generations DLC, which added like Tokyo as a level for the movie. They should have had an Act 2 and added it in London or something. I feel like that would have made sense. But
that it's so much more expensive to make, but
no, absolutely. But I was like, if they were to add an Act 2, I guess it makes more sense that it's not Tokyo because they barely spend any time there.
By the way, Biolizard would still just it's better to come after Sonic Adventure 1 and stuff because I like the idea of SA1 being nature and ritual and SA2 being science because I like the idea that the ultimate life forms were based off of shit that Gerald saw carved onto walls, you know?
Absolutely.
Where he saw Chaos and he built the Biolizard, and he saw Supersonic and he made Shadow.
Yeah, I love that. I love that stuff.
I love that theory. I think that's cool as shit.
Maybe it's good Sonic Adventure movie didn't come first, because then we didn't have to deal with the artificial chaos in the movie. I just hate those things. But yeah, I thought Maria and Shadow's relationship was done really well in the movie. Obviously concise, but like here's the thing, Shadow Generations wasn't out yet. So like a lot of that stuff was just up to interpretation, and like it feels like what people headcanoned for years, like for Shadow and Maria's relationship, because I mean, prior to recently, you really didn't see that in the games. You know how important she was, but
I'll be honest, it felt like Maria got like about as much screen time in like this movie as she did in like the entire like game franchise.
Oh yeah, again, up till now, but like yeah, prior to that, like they definitely had to like they probably consulted Sega about
well, actually,
that was definitely like,
discounting the Shadow the Hedgehog missions where she.
Oh yeah, the 10-hour arc mission where you're hunting for artificial chaos. Again, I hate those things. Shadow, don't stop shooting the gun soldiers. Help us find where is it? There's no map, by the way. Isn't that fun? Anyway, that should be the next movie. No. Yeah, I liked that stuff. I thought it was really wholesome. It made me extra sad for Keanu Reeves Shadow. Like, it was really great seeing his emotion on his face, by the way. Something that's not allowed as much in the games. Like, seeing his expressions, like, felt like a sad animal. I wanted to give him a hug. Probably would have killed me.
Well, a lot of that is probably just due to limitations of budget, because in Shadow Gens, they do a lot with his face.
there were limitations. Like Sonic and Shadow were only like there's some expressions they until recently weren't allowed to make, and even then, like rare cases.
What do you mean by like weren't allowed to make?
Like Sonic is not allowed to cry, for example. It's not a specifically a Sega thing. You know, companies have their own rules for like what their characters are supposed to be known for, what they are or aren't allowed to do. Like, you know, Mario can't, you know, start swearing and use a gun like Shadow, for example. You know, Sonic can't cry, but like there's ways to skirt around it. Famously, in a recent in the Halloween comic, they had him like switch minds partially with someone, and that person cried, and so he experienced their emotions and was crying. But it wasn't because he was sad; he was just expressing their emotions. And it's like, okay, that's a neat way around it to have Sonic express a feeling he otherwise wouldn't be able to. But these movies, since these are, you know, Paramount Productions and Sega is more loose on them, they're allowed to do things you don't normally see. You get to see the younger Shadow doing silly things you don't otherwise get to see. You know, him doing like snow angels and all the food they spilled, and smiling and watching movies and kicking his little feetsies and, you know, stuff like that. Very good. And yeah, circling back to where we were, yeah, they're having that little talk on the moon and him remembering Maria and the sun shining. And like you can feel like his heart warming up at that moment. You know, like the Grinch. Merry Christmas, everyone. His heart grew 3 sizes that day.
It's
John
the
Wick's
best
dog
story
came back
I've
to
ever
life.
heard.
Yeah, John Wick's dog came back to life.
Go watch
all is good. And then they did the frickin' One Piece dap where they frickin' grabbed each other's hands. They both went super. Live and Learn went off. Man. Just
hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Live and learn. When the words say yesterday. Live and learn.
No, you get the short version where they immediately skip to
God,
that
they
part.
really did do that.
It was still hype though, and then you cut back to Gerald and Eggman and Common Con jokes. That was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was neat. I you know, I'd still like to see evil Eggman Jim Carrey like fighting on the side of good for a minute. That was cool. I liked the You're No Maria. But yeah, and then anyway, we cut back to the correct stuff, which is Super Sonic and Super Shadow fighting, and they do something I was wondering how they'd handle, because we weren't gonna get a Final Hazard Bio Lizard in this movie. And in that fight, really, you're only fighting the Bio Lizard, right? Like, the Arc isn't doing anything. You're just fighting its weird egg sacs and lasers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what are they going to fight? Like, what the heck could Gerald possibly scoop up to have Super Sonic and Super Shadow fight? Like,
just throw some Gundams at him, I guess.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, those are the enemies from Sonic Adventure 2. There's the standard robots. That was a cool reference. But, like, just an army of flying space Gundam robots.
Well, they get those to show off, and then the actual fight is they're fighting against a laser.
Yeah, well, still, they have the cool, like, we get the cool scene where the song plays again, and they're fighting and doing all sorts of cool tricks and
they hit the pose.
They hit the pose, and then, yeah, the laser's going off. They blocking the laser, which feels like a natural alternative to what they were doing in the games, where they were trying to stop the thing from falling. And, you know, Eggman, Tails, Knuckles team up to divert the laser. Sonic falls. Instead of Shadow, it's Sonic who falls to the earth. Interesting little flip there. Shadow stays super. They kind of break the moon.
Yeah, him just teleporting right next to Eggman. It's like, holy fuck, you're still in this, bro?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'd love that. Also, I didn't catch this, like, Eggman, like, in Spanish or whatever, like, says bye to Shadow, but it's like
it's the Spanish version of Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, like, instead of Sonic saying that, it's him saying that to Shadow. And then, of course, ironically, he is apparently the one to die there. He does his live stream to let people know he's blasted the moon. No, I'm just kidding. He's the
dog. He should have started that with "I have an announcement to make."
I have an announcement.
When he came up on the screen, I was almost expecting ladies and gentlemen, an announcement. But that's also, I'm gonna be honest, that is one of those, like, okay, no, Warner Brothers would not allow that.
No, never.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't have, like, a 4-year-old child following, like, trying to figure out where that joke came from.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also Gerald got Super Quill stuck up his anus, and then he exploded into a bug zapper, and that was really good.
He got turned into a little brown stain.
He got turned into a little stain, and that was good.
It's almost like we
so
made
funny.
that scene.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's the kind of joke I would have written, honestly. Or I would like to wish I would have written.
Just the little it was,
such a tiny, so anticlimactic.
It was so
Love it.
good. Dramatic ass music and
That's
everything.
that's what actually
This is what you
happened when
wanted,
knocked
right,
someone
Maria?
off the stage in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shadow goes to push the arc. He takes off his inhibitor rings. Don't worry, guys. The movie totally told you what those do. By the way,
I for real
you
was just sitting there like, well, Casey doesn't know what that means.
Okay, yeah. Those were his weighted training weights. He removed them. Now he's gonna push the arc. I don't know why he didn't chaos control it away. I guess they didn't establish that, but like we saw him teleport the motorcycle, so he could have done that, right?
I was gonna say I don't think chaos control is really a
Named.
thing.
Yeah, they didn't really name it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, they're
chaos
never-
energy is a thing, but chaos control hasn't really been elaborated
Which is
on.
a shame because chaos control is such a good like call
I think
out.
it's also just it could be overused or like it could break the plot, so I can see them minimizing it or not bringing it up yet. But like that, I'm surprised he didn't just teleport the thing. But no, he goes to push it. Eggman sacrificed himself, which I did not expect. I did not think he was gonna die there. I thought he had it handled. I was like, oh, he's got some weird CG thingies he's throwing at it. Okay, we're all good. Oh no, he's about to die. Oh, okay. Oh, exploded. Oh, well, rip to that guy, I guess.
It is kind of
both of
funny
them.
how. Oh hey, we have one more ring. Okay, bye Eggman.
Yep. I wonder if he was just already ready to go at that point. Like, God, like, cause Gerald's. I mean, I guess in the movie he only just found out about him, but like in the games he was like his biggest inspiration, and it was such a hurtful thing for him to find out that Gerald wanted to destroy the world. And a similar thing happened here, where he like builds up the whole movie, finally learning his family, who's cool, who he loves, who like he looks up to, and then he's like, you know, you're no Maria, and he just realizes like, wow, like both who I am and what this is and all that, and it's like he was in a bad spot. I guess I would be surprised if he comes back, but. Yeah, he explodes. He totally dies for realsies. Shadow definitely dies for realsies. He's never coming back ever. Team Sonic. Tails dives to save Sonic and definitely successfully saves him without help, really redeeming his character before Knuckles shows up. Knuckles only shows up after Tails definitely saves him without help. Very cool, Tails. We love you. Very, very neat that you did that and definitely did not fail and pass out. And they land, and Sonic's like, hey, Knuckles, sorry for, like, being angsty and stealing your emerald, even though you told me not to, and, like, just taking that, my badsies. And he's like, nah, it's all good, fam. That was resolved really fast, I think.
His nah, it's all good, fam. I would have really preferred... I was really expecting a line, specifically, Knuckles going... You shared the power of the emeralds with your enemy to solve the conflict. Like saying something like that. You eventually used it for good.
Yeah.
You ended up doing the right thing, so I absolve you of this guilt. But no, he was just like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, they really want to just wrap that up. Like, it's all right, man.
Like, no,
we gotta get this movie closed.
There was shit to work with. Like, you could have had, like, you had a really good reason for Knuckles to be like, you know what, you're good, because you did this. But no, Knuckles is just like, dog, I don't fucking care. Take the fucking name. Team Sonic, who cares? Whatever. Good job.
Tails might as well have looked up at the big nuclear explosion's face and said, all is well that ends well, right, guys? Sonic Adventure reference
it did feel weird to, like, for the movie to go back to the really happy stuff, like, super quickly.
It was so fast.
Oh, yeah, Tom's just fine. Yeah, I'm good. Like, how long?
And they're at another party in the woods, I guess. Which it's
the
like,
same spot in the woods, apparently.
Because in Sonic Adventure 2, you have that nice scene where like Sonic is looking out the windows of the Ark at the end.
Somber one. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I could probably give you a good reason why.
It's a kids movie thing, I feel like.
SA2 did not know Shadow was going to come back.
Yeah.
It very, very much was like, no, let's end it on a somber note, because this really cool character died, and he died doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
This movie had no intentions of doing that.
Yeah.
But why even pretend?
The main characters don't know that.
Yeah, but...
Like, they should be feeling, like, more emotions, because they think he's dead.
Sonic calls him new Hedgehog in their final fight together. Like, they did not fucking know each other.
Yeah. God, that is funny to think about. It's a pretty short, like, story from their perspective, I guess.
Like,
well, I mean, isn't it a pretty, like, they don't really interact much in like Adventure, do they? Like
In Adventure 2?
in Adventure 2,
no, they only fight like 3 times.
Not really.
They have the 3 fights, and then that's kind of it.
Well, it's the same in the game. Sonic doesn't have a super close attachment to Shadow, at least for a while. They just occasionally interact and butt heads.
But they still, they still get that connection almost like through the conflict. And
Exactly.
like,
They're like Naruto
Adventure 2.
characters.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it would have been nice if they could have held on to the emotion a little more. Like, I don't know. I do think it makes the entire story feel like it kind of didn't super matter, with like how they're just going back to the same like picnic area at the end. It's just like, okay, well, that's over with. Let's.
You can also see it as like them
Forehands.
just trying to like, not like relax, but like, trying to move their mind off of it, kind of thing. Like a lot of bad, like Tom got super injured, that messed them up, and Sonic and Tails and Knuckles went through some crazy stuff. So, let's go
Alternatively,
continue our party.
I guess I
and,
just
hold
prefer
on,
like
hold
more
on.
catharsis.
do they even fucking know Shadow's supposed to be dead?
I think they think
He
he's dead.
explode like he. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
like-
sure they think he's dead.
They did not
Yeah,
know Shadow
they mentioned that they
was
think he's
within
dead.
range of that. I'm pretty sure. I
No, because Super Shadow is there, and then Sonic falls, and then Tails and Knuckles, I guess.
and
are
they're
still there,
very
so-
preoccupied with Sonic falling. In fact, they block the laser. Sonic's falling. Shadow isn't.
Okay, so there's
But-
parts in this movie where like the characters just know something they kind of shouldn't. I think they do explicitly say that they think he's dead for some reason, and we just don't really get a reason
I don't
for it.
recall- Oh, I
someone
believe you, but-
someone had to push the arc out of the way. Like,
Yeah, I think they.
Yeah,
I
and
think
if
they may
Shadow
have-
is able to push the arc out of the way, who knows? The man can fucking teleport. So
I think Big would have handled it.
Big would have
safer.
just handled it.
Yeah, Big would have just handled it.
And
He would have
Vanilla.
simply caught the laser and the arc when it fell, and
I
that
just-
would've been it. He would have saved Maria.
It's just I don't know. You're right. I would have preferred a more Adventure 2-esque ending where it's a little bit more somber. But at
I
least
wish we
for
got a
one
part-
scene, at least for one.
Mhm.
But it's also just like, man, we all know he ain't fucking dead.
Yeah. If only there was a post-credit scene to show that.
If only there was a
Unfortunately,
post-credit scene specifically showing Rouge finding Shadow, because I was placing bets in the theater saying that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we really thought, especially Ransom, we really thought that the final post-credit was going to be Rouge appearing and then finding Shadow. But no, it was just Shadow himself.
And kind of
I'm-
recreating the Sonic Heroes thing.
I think the way
Yeah.
they should have introduced Big by just having him appear in the background of some scenes,
like
in the game.
man, just how good do you think they would do Big?
Perfectly.
I perfectly, yeah. I don't think it's difficult
He would be
to
the
do big.
only being that could defeat Solaris by himself, I think. And that's all that matters.
control.
Go ahead. Chaos control. Makes fishing too easy. Right. So.
Yeah, they're gonna make a Big the Cat series, and just like the Knuckles series, it's more gonna be about the humans.
That's
but just
my
once an ep-
Froggy!
Once an episode, you just see Big running through the background, going, "Froggy, where are you?"
Super big.
I mean, they
let's
literally
go.
did that with in SA2. They just had him in the background of stages.
Yeah.
So good. There was a hypothetical, the Bumblecast, Ian Flynn's podcast, which I won't be answering Sonic questions anymore, unfortunately. But before that happened, there was a recent one where someone asked, hypothetically, what if in Sonic Adventure, when Froggy ate that Chaos Emerald, he like merged with it, it like never became separate from him again. And every game ever from like that point onward, instead of finding 7 Chaos Emeralds, it'd be 6 Chaos Emeralds and Froggy. And just imagining Froggy in like every crazy situation, like with Mephiles or like all that crap, it's just really funny to me. Just like, nope, you just got a frog hovering over you now. You gotta absorb the frog to become super. I think that would be a better story. Yeah.
I like how we just leave James hanging sometimes.
I
I don't know why we do it, but we do it.
could just keep going. I mean, I'll keep
I
yapping.
know, but let's go ahead and
You
wrap
will.
it up because I do work tomorrow.
Yeah, we're almost at the end.
we
yeah,
are
they
at
did
the
a
end.
thing-
What the fuck are you talking
Well,
about?
we didn't have a 10-hour segment where we talked about Knuckles not coming out of a sewer like he does in Sonic. Oh, they didn't have Pumpkin Hill. That's what we're missing. Yeah.
0 out of 10 movie, no Pumpkin Hill.
I would have.
Post-credit scene.
I would have
Metal
liked
Sonic
Green
had a
Forest.
Also,
Yeah.
why was the credits theme not just do Live and Learn like the whole song?
I
don't
know,
know, man.
dog.
It maybe would have cost more
Make
because it's a movie.
make it City Escape. I don't fucking know. Like,
I mean, they could have just used the symphony version, which is incredible because you have freaking Nathan Sharp and the symphony orchestra singing alongside the freaking band, and it's amazing.
So, by the way, is this movie the reason why Crush 40 is like trying to get compensation from Sega now?
No, I think it may have been related to them finding out, but the thing is, no, the movie definitely has permission to use the song, but
Okay.
Yoni or whatever his name is basically found out, oh crap, they've been using Live and Learn in a lot of stuff I wasn't aware of. We knew they use them in some games, but this many? And they didn't ask us, which is weird because according to the contract, Sega owns the lyrics or whatever, but I own the composition. They're supposed to compensate and ask when they put it in stuff, like Smash Brothers, for example. And they haven't been. So, and he's not asking them to remove anything. He's like, can you pay me for that? Like you're supposed to? So, hoping that gets resolved amicably. Because I like Crush 4D music.
I do too.
And think artists should be paid properly. But yeah, post-credit scene, Metal Sonic had a gun arm. That's interesting. And there's a lot of them. I don't know if there's a main Metal Sonic or if there's just a bunch of Terminator robots. Hooded Amy shows up. That's very cool. Sonic ran in New York. Oh yeah, so do you think Sonic 4 is going to take place in New York? Because they're in New York. They kind of specified that. I wonder if that plot's going to be in New York for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
they could do
particularly
whatever.
care for it, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they could use New York for the dystopian future kind of thing, showing it in the future with robots going all around. It was also more just part of the joke in making it so that Knuckles and Tails could not
there.
get to him.
Also, I do love that Metal Sonic. They didn't MCUify his design or anything. Bro just looks right out the games. And I
He
love that.
really
He looks great.
I was gonna say this earlier, but I still think they could combine CD and Heroes plot somehow. Maybe the Metal Sonics use the time stones, and in the future they make Neo Metal Sonic and the Metal Overlord or something using the technology or something like that. Alternatively, you could have the time stones barely factor into the plot, have it be setting up all the characters to fight Neo Metal Sonic, and then at the end, as a post-credit scene, it reminds you the time stones are there and shows a time skip, and then shows a destroyed future, and Silver shows up, and it's oh, these are the time stones. I can use them to travel back in time, and have that be a setup for a future movie.
Yeah, that's how I kind of imagine it as well. They could do a pretty nice meta joke if they go the Sonic Heroes route as well, of throughout the whole movie they're thinking oh no, Eggman made all these robots. Eggman made the Metal Sonics.
Yeah.
And then at the end they find him kidnapped by Metal Sonic. He's just after all that last stuff, I actually was gonna go into retirement. But
God.
They said no.
That would be it'd be the Shadow plotline, but with Eggman. Everyone thinks he's dead, but it turns out he was alive the whole time. We just didn't know. That'd be crazy. I love that.
I was gonna retire, but then I got kidnapped by these Metal Sonics.
Moral of the story is the movies have a chance to go Super Amy before the games proper, and I think that'd be epic.
Eggman used Chaos Control. That's how he
Eggman-
escaped.
Eggman went super before Sonic, and for the first time. That's so weird. Anyway.
That's true.
Oh yeah, and we got Chaos Spear. That was cool. I think that about covers everything.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, live and learn.
Why was Jelly Roll in this movie anyway?
Hanging
Live
on
and learn.
the edge of tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Live and learn for the words of yesterday. Whoa, 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 oh yeah.
And continuing our podcast. Next, we'll be covering a very similar movie, very similar vibes and
Oh, yeah.
feelings. Yeah, we're doing Nosferatu next, so
See you guys next time on Flaccid Podcasts, which
Goodbye.
pretty much seems to only be for movie reviews at this point.
We should review Sonic 1 next.
No.
James, we're demoting you to intern again.
Yep. Computer, show me James's balls.
Oh, wow. How to do that?